Welcome back. My name is Kim Parkinson, and you are listening to Podcasting for Spiritual Women. I am your host and a podcast growth coach. So I've been a podcast producer since 2020. Previous to that, I had my own TV show and I was an executive producer there. And so I've got quite a number of years of different experience in the media space. And I am super excited to be bringing you this little mini series here at the end of the summer to just showcase just a few things that you can do to get your podcast found easier on any of the podcasting apps. So, if you have not listened to episode 20 and episode 21, episode 20 goes over your podcast name and how to find the keywords for that and what you should be doing there. And then episode 21, we went over your podcast description and what you should have in your description and how you can be seen and found through that. The third way that podcast players crawl different pieces of your podcast is your podcast titles themselves. So, first way is going to be your podcast name, then it's going to be your podcast description, and then third is going to be the actual names of the episodes. What I want you to do now is I want you to take a look at previous episodes. Do they start with a strong SEO rich keyword? Or are you naming them things like, hey, love to have you? Or, I don't know, something kind of witty, maybe something fun, but isn't really being seen or found on the podcast apps when people are looking for the problem they want to solve. What I want you to do is I want you to make sure that each of your episodes revolves around a specific topic. This is going to really help you with finding your keywords. Now, if you are talking about episodes going forward, this is going to be probably a lot easier because you're going to say, you know what, today we're talking about manifestation. Today we're talking about, a specific section of the Bible. Today we are talking about oracle cards. Today we are talking about whatever the modality, life coaching, business, LinkedIn. Maybe today we're talking about, something, whatever that is that you're teaching on. Today you're talking about that particular topic. And that is going to really bring forth what the answer is for your podcast title. Because whatever that topic is, that should be something that is talked about, obviously, often in the episode, and it's going to be the keyword of the episode. Will it be keyword rich? Maybe not, but it is the keywords of the episode, right? So if you know that what you're talking about is really a hot topic, that's going to be SEO. That's going to have some SEO factor behind it. And so what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that how you name your episode, it starts with that particular word or that particular keyword or that particular keyword phrase, because sometimes a keyword isn't just one word, right? Sometimes it's a phrase. Now, there are a few caveats to this that I want to let you know work really well. If you have a how-to or a series of like top 10 or 5 tips to something like that, those are well loved by people. People love it when you are offering 5 secrets to the next strategy or whatever it might be. I don't know, whatever your topic might be. People love it when you have how-tos and whether or not you have top 5, top 10, something like that, a series of things like that, like some type of a number in there. Here's the thing. Don't name every episode how to or the top 5. You just want to throw them in sporadically. You do not want them to be every single episode. As a matter of fact, I'm looking back at some of my episode names right now, and I did have a how to back at episode 14. I did have a 3 reasons in episode 10. So yeah, like I've been doing the same thing. Here's one thing I would not start your episode with. The And here's the crazy part. That is actually the first episode that I did is called The Hardest Episode You'll Ever Make. I think in that particular case, it does work because people probably are being like podcasting hardest episode, right? And it's still going to pick it up because hardest episode is in there. But I would not typically start any podcast names with the word the word a, anything that is just very simple. In is not another good one. But you want to start it with something that is going to really draw people in. Now, I even have one here that's like from YouTube to audio podcast. I'm looking at this. This is episode 15 here, right? I'm looking at my naming conventions. I'm really unpacking this for you guys. I'm not loving the from either. And I think when I named it, I wasn't loving the from then as well. But it's hard to say when they go from a YouTube to audio, like how do you do that? So sometimes this is again, and I've mentioned this before in the last 2 episodes about the series here. Sometimes that is when you need to take a look at AI. I know. Again, just use it for a spark of an idea. That's the best way for me to tell you, because you don't want to be really drawing this out and you don't want to be using it because then you just sound like everybody else. But if you can use it to spark an idea and to create something that is more searchable for your specific avatar and clientele, then it's a win. It's a win for you. It's a win for them. It's a win for everyone. So look at it in that fashion. Now, if you are an AI lover, you're probably like, I don't know why she keeps saying that she hates it. I don't hate it. I am using it. And I do think in this particular case, if you have a keyword that you are looking to use in a podcast title, after you record your podcast, throw that transcript into ChatGPT or any other, Claude or anything like that. And then ask it what keywords are in this episode and think like an SEO expert and what keyword rich SEO names can you offer me for this particular podcast episode and see what it comes out with. See what it comes out with. You may be like, oh, I would have never thought of that. Or you may be like, wow, I could do better. And just use it use it for what it is. But the most important part of this is that you need people to find your episodes, right? So if they find one episode, hopefully they listen to that episode because they found it. That was what the pain point is that they had or what they wanted to listen to is. And so when they find it, then hopefully whatever drops and nuggets of knowledge and wisdom you gave them leads them to be a regular listener. And so then your downloads start to grow because you have organically found them based on the keywords in your podcast episode title. Again, just to recap, we went over podcast name, how to get them to find you. That was in episode 20. You'll find that last week. And then also last week in episode 21, we went over your description, also using keywords. If you have found anything so far, it is that we are using keywords, SEO rich keywords, phrases, any of those, anything that is a topic of discussion that people are searching. That is what we want to name our podcast, put in our description, and name each of our episodes. So I'm also going to mention last week in the description, we mentioned putting in the Google style keyword or Google style questions into your description. I would challenge you to use each of those and create an episode out of them, because why not, right? Add the additional benefit of somebody searching for it. Now you may be saying to me, okay, so why would I do that when you told me last week in the description not to use my podcast name again, because it was already going to be crawled? And that's because each of those episodes, while they are in your description, you do want people to go find them. You do want to answer those particular questions and make it easy for them to find them. So make it easy for them. If you have a particular Google style question that you put into your description, use that and make it easy for people to find them in your episodes. So then they go listen, they love it, they follow you, they become a client. This is the whole purpose here, right? Definitely, I think in this particular case, it's okay. Use it twice. Use it there because it's basically saying we answer these questions. And then, oh, look, there's the question and this is my answer. This is my episode and this is how I'm answering it. So, all right. So this one's actually pretty quick because I think again, it's all about the keywords. Keywords, keywords, keywords. SEO, if you know anything about it, or if you don't, ask chat to help you with that or any of the other AI platforms, and use your own discretion. That's the most important bit here, right? While yes, you can put in your descriptions or your transcripts into an AI, use your common sense and your own descriptions and your own ideas and your own wisdom to create those names, the description, and all of that. That is it for today. A short little episode on Thursday. We're going to go over a few extra little bits for the end of this podcast season before we wrap up and we start the fall, meteorological fall, with weekly episodes rather than 2 episodes a week. Thanks so much for joining me, and can't wait to come back on Thursday with the next episode in this series. Until then, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Podcasting for Spiritual Women. If you would like more strategy and tips and some tricks on how to make your podcast better, I recommend that you join my newsletter list. You can find that at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter. Until next time.